What's up, everyone? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into obviously tonight's games. And a lot of people are asking for some college picks, and obviously I didn't forget them. I just wanted to see where we stood. So first, I wanted to hit the narratives, the NBA ones, and I think we had a good day. I think we were pretty over the target. Magic, I think it was obvious. You got to give Paolo that win at home. He had a strong game. So I never really take money lines with underdogs with my system. So for those of you that did a good job, I just took the 3 points and it worked out. Again, Wizards, Celtics, there's a reason I said I was not going to play those games. If I were to, I would have been wrong. But there's a reason a lot of the ones I don't pick are the ones that wind up being a little tricky over time here. Pacers just wired. The Wizards, they're just tough games. But I did like the Sixers just because I didn't think they were going to start them 1-5. You look at Vegas's odds of them to win the division. It's hard to start them 1-5 with their schedule coming up and justify them winning out. Now, I did bring up the narrative of Doc being fired, and it's funny because if you go to the sports book, at least mine, has him 1.5 to 1 to be fired. He's the leading every other coach. It says who's going to be the first to be fired, and Doc's number 1. Now, we missed the Knicks, which is fine. It was a first legger. I had them plus, I think they were getting 6 or 7. They weren't able to cover. I thought they would have, to be quite honest. They just had Giannis go nuts at home. So maybe at Knicks at home, it would have made more sense, but I thought even on the road they would want to showcase these guys, and I thought a lot of people would be on the Bucks. So we didn't get that one. Now for that one, I did go ahead and make the second leg, the Blazers here, because, again, I think what's happening is people are just thinking of the last year's Blazers, and they're not remembering that this team is ridiculously good. They're not understanding that Shadon Sharp is not somebody to be messed with. They don't realize that Anthony Simons is just going nuts. So, and then Nurk as well. You got Grant, Hart. I mean, all these guys. So, with or without Dame, I knew they were going to win. I had faith in them to cover that 4 points no matter what. And then we did miss narrowly on the Lakers here. The spread was 8 points. And, of course, they lost by 9, which, okay, it's 7's what it opened at. I think it closed at 8. But either way, it was very close. And it was suspicious because they were fouling at the end and then they weren't shooting. Like, they would foul to give them free throws, but then they wouldn't try and score with, it was weird that they even fouled them with the little bit of time left. I saw the same thing happen last night with the Magic. But again, we can't complain on our losses. We have to take the wins with the losses. And overall, we did well. Like I said, the Pelicans at the end, I thought they'd cover that 9. What happened, I think, is, again, it's going to be more of when these things meet a lot of times. I think when they meet in New Orleans, you're going to see a much different Alvarado. Chris Paul's not going to look the same. He did look really good tonight, so I was wrong on him. But, yeah, they did cover. I thought, like I said, just because of the way they present the Pelicans, a lot of people were going to be on the Suns because they're the Suns. And based off the playoffs, I thought the Pelicans would have been stronger. But we can still see most of the narratives holding. Blazers off to a strong start. Lakers are just clowns. The crowd is mocking them, chanting 0-5. Sixers, they're going to win. I think they're going to have good. They're not going to start off like the Nets and the other teams, but I do think that they're going to wind up firing Doc. And then the Magic was nice. So we're looking for leg 2s on the Lakers, of course, the next leg of the Lakers. Some people did take the Blazers and get that. So for those of you that just automatically did that, a few in my Discord let me know. That's cool. And then for the Suns, we'll be doing the next leg. So the 2 I like off the bat, there's 2 games that one I feel like is kind of a trap, and at the same time, it fits a metric. And it's this one right here. So I'm going to be taking on the second leg here. And I had only bet to win 20 on the first leg of the Knick game. So this one's going to be about 48 to win 41. That'll win us $21. And I'm taking West Virginia plus 7.5 for the same reason I don't think Tennessee's losing. I know a lot of people say this might be the week Tennessee loses. But I look at this metric, and you're not going to have a bunch of teams finish undefeated, okay? It's just like not going to happen. You'll have a few, but not a handful of teams. So Georgia is meeting Tennessee next week. So them both being undefeated to me is a much better narrative than if Tennessee loses. So I think them and Ohio State rolling undefeated, which only leaves a few teams that might be able to. Michigan, TCU, Clemson. Ohio State could lose. But you can see that it only leaves a few teams. And if you look at the against the spread, also TCU very good at against the spread this year. You know I like to fade teams that don't do too well against the spread. I think they even out over time. And teams that do very well against the spread, I think they even out. So that's why I'm fading TCU. I think there's a good chance they lose. And even if they win, I'm not sure they cover. The other one I like here, and it's the same metric, and I will go more into the later games. I just, again, my video can only do so long, and these are the only ones I'm definitely playing for sure. We can see that Georgia Tech has still yet to hit an over this year, along with Colorado. So I picked Georgia Tech to hit it over last week, and they didn't. It was actually a Thursday game, I think. So I'm going to be doing the same thing again. We're going to be taking Georgia Tech, and this will be for the second leg of the other sequence. Just because, again, teams don't just finish over, on the over or under. They don't finish 0 or 100%. It just doesn't happen. So that's the reason I do like Georgia Tech on the over here and Florida State. So the game total is probably set somewhere in the 40s at 40, so 48. I could buy it down a little bit, but we're just going to keep it the way it is. This will be a first sequence as well, because I've actually looked at one more that I like better for a second sequence. Now, I know there's certain games that people like to watch. It's more fun to bet on certain games because it's a more competitive game to watch, but I just try and pick better games rather than ones that I think, this will be fun to watch. So I'm going to go into the NFL, obviously, but I wanted to go into, I usually do about 3 or 4 early games. I wanted to go into the ones that stuck out to me as far as football. And the West Virginia one stuck out to me. The Georgia Tech does. I also think Florida State covers. I think they really want them to look strong. So if you're picking that game, and you want to know, I'd pick them to cover. Another one that I do like a lot here, and it's an earlier game, is Miami to cover. It's for the simple fact that they've done very poorly this year covering the spread, and that just it doesn't even out. They're 1-7, and it seems like they've been selling a lot. So and Virginia's a team that, on paper, rigged or not, should not match up well at all against Miami, just because of, and it's actually 2.5 here, just because of the fact that of the way Miami plays defense. So this is also going to be a first sequence because, as I said, there's one that I really like for a second sequence. I've been playing this one a few weeks in a row, and it's Colorado State. They are so bad. You guys know my opinion on them. They're fun to watch because they're so bad. But this one, they are huge underdogs, which means I said this last week because they're favorites, but this week I do believe it. If there's a week where these guys are going to go over, it's going to be this week, where Boise probably single-handedly goes over by themselves. So I'm not trying to rush through this. I'm just trying to go into the games that we did. I'll be doing another one to go into more college games. Just at a glance from the ranked teams, I like a lot of them to cover. I like Ohio State to cover because I think a lot of people are going to be thinking Penn State for the upset. But they're pushing Straub too much. And I told you guys about Hendon Hooker. They're pushing this guy. He's not losing to Kentucky. Kentucky may cover, but I like Hendon. And by the time that game rolls around, I'll have my pick. I might wind up picking them to cover. So of the ones left, there's not a bunch like that jump out at me. I know people want to see like Florida and Georgia. Like I said, I think Georgia covers. I think a lot of the top-ranked teams have decisive victories. It's going to set up Georgia and Tennessee very well next week. If they just barely win, I don't think it's as enticing, the number 1 ranked team. And then, there's not many other 1 o'clocks that really jump out at me. I will say Oklahoma's been steamrolling through competition. So if you wanted to play that game, I'd play Iowa State. I think it's interesting. Oklahoma's a favorite. I think it's a nice trap here for Iowa State to win. It's about even odds. But those are the ones that I picked. Obviously, I picked the Phillies, so they won. And I'll go into more of the Saturday games. I just wanted to pick the metrics that I really liked. And while we're at it, I want to see if Memphis is in here, because if it is, I'm going to be taking the under on them. Again, these metrics just don't hold up where teams finish 90 to 100% against spreads. So they've hit the over almost all year. And they're later, so I might... Okay, so if I don't see them, maybe they don't play this week. And the other one was Houston that I saw. So if they're not in here, we can play them another time, but I'll look for them. But I did like them too, because they have not gone over all year. Okay, so yeah, I'm not seeing them, but that's fine. We can... If you do see them when that game does come, I am going to be playing them both on the over. But yeah, we're looking good. As I said, we have quite a bit of outstanding wagers, a couple second sequences, and we're going to go into the NBA as well, of course. It just, with the NBA, the lines just literally, like on mine, they barely give me anything. Look, we just got a couple games and I can't do money lines. At a glance, I'm just going to give you at a glance. Kings, Hornet, Pacers. Actually, Kings, Hornets, Nets, Dallas. I like all the home teams to cover. The spreads are so large in 3 of these games, usually people are just going to take the other team. And again, you have Warriors, you have Dallas. They're going to want to make these teams look good. But I'm going to go into NBA. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown because some people were like, hey, can you tell me what you think? So I just wanted to give you off the bat, I like all home teams to cover. I'm sorry, not all home. Yeah, I like all home teams to cover, including Charlotte. So that's just what I like right now. I'll look into that more, but I thought it was more important I get out the picks that I'm doing for college. And if any other ones come up for later in the day for college, I'm probably going to drop a video tomorrow going over college again. But I just wanted to get this out for now so you guys had it. And I wanted to make sure it went through because my phone only lets me do about, it seems like, 8 to 10 minutes. So we had a good day. I expect to have a really good day tomorrow. And take care and happy earnings.